can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. So I'm going to share the screen and go get it again. Hang on.
Okay.
I know I'm bad at this.
You are really not. You are doing good.
I'm very bad, but people know that.
Please, I don't even know how to share my screen. Like, I really wouldn't know how to even do that.
Well, we are live right now, so. Let me see if I can get it pulled up. Okay, I'm going to mute myself and we're going to share this video, everyone. I know we're live right now, so. And it's not going to let me play it. No. Well, I had it all set up, everybody, to play, obviously.
I told them that if you don't let Biafra go, this God that we worship will destroy Nigeria beyond recognition. It happened to Pharaoh in the Bible. Pharaoh was mocking God. Who is this your God? God, sit down. When Moses told Pharaoh that Elohim said, let my people go, he refused. He said, it's nonsense. They are talking rubbish. Are you not here? Are you not our servants here? The same thing they're saying. Don't people have shops here selling motor spare parts? Are you people not the ones doing trading here? How can God come to save you people? And I said to them many years ago, Elohim said, let my people go. And I went on to add, if you do not let us go, Nigeria will be worse than Somalia. I made it very clear. I don't believe in stupid prophetic pronouncement. Very clean and clear. Somalia will be better than the zoo called Nigeria. If you don't let our people, if you don't let the children of God go, God will visit his anger. People don't know. As I told Britain the same thing. Regardless of their first world state, I said to Britain, if you continue to meddle into the affairs of Biafra, God will divide Britain into pieces. Will cut Britain into pieces. But your pride, you will know it is because of Biafra, but your pride will not allow you to come out to say publicly it is because of Biafra. God will destroy Britain. Before the whole world, you will see it. Now they have realized their mistakes, that they are going back, little by little, of course. God will destroy Nigeria beyond redemption. Many of you shouting one Nigeria, you're going to die. Many of you will die. Because of that one Nigeria, you're going to die. Write it down. Don't misquote me. Write it down. I said, all of you championing one Nigeria, prominently, you are all going to die. Not only are you going to die, your race, your lineage, your family will be wiped out from the face of this land. Your name will be gone. Write it down tonight. Today's date is the 9th day of May 2021. Write it down on a piece of paper. All of you are going to perish. And I am bringing a curse upon every pastor who will ever open his stupid stinking mouth to talk about one Nigeria. Shame shall befall you. If shame doesn't befall you, you will not worship Almighty God in heaven and Him alone and no other. You not worship idol. I don't worship idol. You know that very well. Because anybody talking about one Nigeria is a child of Lucifer. If you talk about one Nigeria, you are a child of Lucifer. That means there is no God inside you. If there is God inside you, how can such a thing be happening in Nigeria now? How is that possible? How is that possible? I'm asking you. And you claim you're a child of God, you couldn't say it. Some of them claim we are children of God, we are this, we are that, we are prophets. You could not see, you couldn't have predicted. You are only coming out now to say, oh, don't worry, Nigeria will not break. Nigeria is not going to break. Nnamdi Kanu cannot break Nigeria. Sunday Igboho cannot break Nigeria. Did I tell you I was going to break Nigeria? God will destroy Nigeria because his glory cannot be taken by man. Some of these stupid, idiotic prophets claim they are prophets. They're like Pharaoh. They're even worse than Pharaoh. They read Bible. They claim they are Bible scholars. They read the Bible. But they don't understand what the Bible is talking about. Because they worship the God of Mammon, the God of money. Tithes and offerings, that's all they're interested in.
Okay, everybody. Hang on. I got to get this off. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So, sorry. I've got to come back on here. I'm not good with the computer, as you can see. I had it all set up, and then when I went live, it threw it out. So anyways, I'm Susan Mount, and I'm here with Miss Savyy and Uzor Articles today, our usual Sunday program. So I decided to play that clip from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu because today is about being held captive. And you could be held captive in your mind like the Southeast governors, or by greed like the Southeast governors. You can be held captive like the Fulani herdsmen and the terrorists, Boko Haram, and the terrorist sponsoring Nigerian government. You can be held captive in your mind. And people who still believe in one Nigeria are held captive in their mind. But today's theme is held captive. So with that being said, I want to turn this over to Uzor because there's something that Uzor really wanted to share that's very important, that's going on to Biafrans, not only in Nigeria, but in the international community as well. So Uzor, if you want to kind of talk about, and I can share my screen and show things if you need me to.
Oh, okay.
So what do you want to, go ahead and talk and then tell me what you want to share.
Yeah, I'm just here to speak on behalf of Biafrans being held captive in all over the world, because a lot of them are being in prison for donkey years, but nobody's talking about them. So this is time for us to speak for them. They need to be free, and they are there it's not because of their crime. I know most of them are served, most of them are guilty of the crime, most of them are not guilty, but they've served beyond limits. So, and you see Nigerian government, they just go there and they release their people and they will leave them behind because they are Biafrans. Most especially, even the Oduduwas, they do have like a little hinge behind before they even think about the Biafrans, because the Oduduwas are second-class citizens in Nigeria to even regard them. So this is what's happening. So before I used to visit them, I used to try to get solicited for them, but it's getting too much. So, and most especially, we're talking about the oldest prisoner in China now, Mr.
Wow.
Brown. Mr.
Okay.
Brown.
Let me show his picture. Can I show his picture?
Yeah, you can share his picture now.
Okay.
Brown Chukwudi.
Go ahead, Mr. Uzor. I'm sorry.
So he's been there for 19 years, going to 20. Next year is making it 20 years. So he needs to be out. We need him to be out. We need to speak.
Is this him, Uzor?
Yeah. That's it. If he can make it border, I think he's yeah, that's it. So he's been there for donkey years and actually didn't get like any drugs from him. They caught him because he went to visit the girlfriend in a hotel, and the girlfriend was caught with the thing and he got arrested. So he's been there for 19 good years. So now China's they're celebrating their 100 years anniversary. So we want to use this opportunity to plead with Chinese government to let him out. He's been there for more than nobody, they've thrown the thing out. Even those people they arrested with him, both the Duduwas and few other ones, they are all out. Most of them have forgotten they went to prison, but he stayed there. There've been publication in newspapers. He's been crying. He's been asking them to allow him to see his mom before he dies. So he's been so pathetic. It's been every year they publish in the newspaper. Nobody is saying anything. Why? Because he's a Biafran. Not only him, there's so many of them in prison in Asia, in Europe, in America. So this is time for us to speak with one voice and let them out and give them second chance. Nobody is perfect.
And
I know
mind
most of
you, this is China. This is a communist country. And the people that are in these prisons, including this Biafran for 19 years, it says here where everything is totally different and we are treated as slaves, okay? Mind you, the Nigerian government has Chinese in Nigeria drilling for all the resources and buying up infrastructure. But when Biafrans are in China and they get caught up with the wrong person, they are imprisoned. And this man's been in prison for 19 years. And all he wants to do is say something to his mother. And it's really sad. But go ahead, Mr. Uzor. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna
no, you're saying you're
I'm
on
gonna
the
show
right
this
path.
other
Yeah.
article that you gave me.
Yeah, this is the friend that came out because a time before people thought that Brown is dead. So this guy came out and told the world that Brown is still alive in the prison there and he's sick. So they took him out from Beijing prison to the hospital. So I think they're trying to, I think they took him to another prison back there in China. So they've been just driving him from one prison to the other. So he's still alive, he's still there. So we need to speak, he needs to get out. So this guy spoke a lot about him. I spoke with the junior brother to Brown. So this is what we need to do. We need to speak out. He needs to be out. This is inhuman. I can't believe my eyes that he is still there. Even me, I thought he's dead, but
Yes.
so pathetic.
Yes, it is very pathetic. Let me see what else we have. So is his family helping him get out?
The family, what can they do? They've tried all they could. You know, this is the federal government something. We need to speak. We need government to put in. We don't even have government in Nigeria. We need Chinese government to help and get this guy out.
I
And this is
wonder
for
if we
Biafrans
could
too.
help. I wonder if we could help write a letter like this person
Yeah.
to help get him out.
Yeah, after this, we're still going to write a letter to the Chinese government, and the Biafrans too needs to start writing letters to release all the Biafrans lavishing in prison. And another advice I have to give to Nigerians, both Nigerians and because I don't discriminate those people that they call themselves Nigerian, Oduduwa, and Biafrans, stop going to this communist country that
Yes.
they don't meant well for you. I don't know what you're going there to do. You better stay back in that zoo than going there to risk your life.
Exactly. And, you know, for a country to work so closely with the terrorist sponsoring Nigerian government, you already know that they're not going to treat Biafrans very well. So you do not want to go to China. I don't care how bad it is right there right now. We don't want no Biafrans to go to China. We do
but
not.
this one is not his fault because he went when China was good. So when there's nothing like that, Nigeria was good then. Was better, not was even like manageable. There was no time Nigeria was good. Nigeria was manageable then. It was just we're just advising the new generation that is trying to run away now because of what's happening in that contraption called Nigeria to stop.
And look at this whole list. There's a whole list of Biafrans being held.
And this is just the people. This is not all. This is just few we can grab the names for. That the lawyer, this is the lawyer that's going for it. So we have our charity organization, United, our charity organization running up there, trying to bring Biafrans out from the prison, United Humanitarian Support Initiative. So we are taking this case up too. So we want Biafrans IPOB to take the case up too, to get Biafrans out of prison. We need them to be alive to see Biafra.
And so we want you all to be careful of which country you go to, because obviously there's terroristic countries and there's communist countries that don't like you. And we learned that when all of the unexpected cargo ended up on the shores of China. And we all know what I'm talking about. I don't want to be blocked from Facebook, so I won't say it out loud, but obviously they're harvesting organs and they're harvesting other things off of men. And in that one article, it said that the man had to donate his sperm and blood just to get free. What are they doing with sperm and blood? I don't know.
The guy said that some of them in the prison, they harvest their kidney.
It's just, and why, I have not a clue, but we want to speak for those Biafrans that it seems like they were left behind. And this man has been in the Chinese prison for 19 years. And he just wants to tell his mother, speak to his mother. We're going to try hard. We're going to try to send letters. I don't know what we can do because that regime is pretty, I don't know. I don't want to start crying right now. But anyways, we need the attention brought to this. Okay. So, do you need to say anything else, Uzor, about this before I move on?
Yeah, so this is another thing on the course of the program, we're still going to chip it on. So this is what we need. And people always ask me, why am I not happy? This is one of the things keeping me in this mood, making me sad to see Biafran suffering across the globe. So we need them to be free. We can't be free, and some people are not free. So we need everybody to be on the same page. Life is too short. We need to live it at fullest. You can imagine 19 years, how his reasoning will be in there. How long does he have to live with his age? It's so sad.
And the man, you say the man, he was dating a Chinese citizen, evidently, that was caught with drugs, and then he went to prison for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So see, the Chinese government don't even care whether that's yours or not. It's just sad how the Nigerian government allows the Chinese to come into Nigeria and take up everything and borrow money from China, but China is holding actual, well, we don't call Nigeria a country, but Nigerian citizens in Nigeria's eyes in China and treats them like slaves. And we know China is well known for some other things as well. But anyways, so if there's nothing else you want to talk about, Uzor, I want to talk about some more being held captive Biafrans right now. Okay.
Yeah. We're using it as point of contact. So while going on, you to still put off his face, and so we keep going, like in the middle or something like that. Yeah. Thank you.
Can we post this stuff on Facebook to get the word out?
Everywhere. We'll make it go viral.
Okay. So I also want to talk about, obviously, Biafrans have been kidnapped by compromised police and military who are infiltrated by the terrorists that were repentant, that the Nigerian government sponsors. And, a lot of them have been held in prison, sent to Abuja, sent to northern prisons. Why, I don't know, whatever the secret is. So recently there was some people in Ebony State that was captured, and they were held in a prison there, but they recently got moved to another prison without court hearing, okay, without seeing a court. And they got sent to a prison. It's almost as if they don't get due process, okay? And I want to share my screen again. And I want to bring to light these men as well, okay? So, and this has been shared on Facebook, okay? So it says it's only in Ebony State that you will ever hear that they, the governor of Ebony State and his men, which is Dave Umahai, sent more than 82 unarmed Biafrans to the Afipo prison without any case file or even heard by any court from any legal court. So in other words, they're sentencing them to life imprisonment without legal court hearing and without a case file. They don't even have evidence against these people. And they know they don't have evidence against the people because it's a silent genocide by compromised police and military. And they're just going to Ebony State, picking up whoever they want because they know ESN is in the forest, is in the bush. And ESN has not committed a crime. They're only in the bush as a self-defense against terrorist herdsmen, protecting their women and other farmers going into the bush to do their farming. But yet the Nigerian government is sending their compromised military and police, kidnapping these people. And mind you, when they don't have evidence against the people, they've started staging evidence, and it's very staged. You can see it in the pictures. But when these men went to this other prison, it was 40 something men to start off with. When they got to the prison, they saw 40 more Biafrans being held there that they don't know where they came from. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they were being held, you know, the other Biafrans were being held in those prisons already and nobody knows why. Like, they didn't get due process. They were already being held. God only knows from where, if it was totally from Ebony State or what. But there's no due process, and they were already in the prison. 40 something men was already in that prison. And when these other new batch of 40 something men was sent to that prison, and there's no court hearing. And I find it funny how they say the courts are not in session, but yet the North, I read an article the other day that the North, there was a prosecution in the North. So how is it that people can go in front of a court in the North, but not in the South? Somebody needs to look into that, because I think they're trying to say that the court is not in session in the South when it should be, or they're either paying the judges not to go to court or whatever it is. I don't know. But why is courts open in the North, but not in the South? That's what I want to know. So obviously, on a somewhat better note, I read this on Facebook. IPOB have secured the release of 26 Biafran youths, okay? And if it wasn't for Nnamdi Kanu, a lot of these people would die in prison. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for the lawyers that go and help, that IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu puts in, these people would die in prison for no charges and no due process in court. And so these guys they were lifted from Obibo. You all remember Obibo, right? Governor Wicked, we call him Wicked, Governor Wicked, that went around calling everybody IPOB, kidnapping them. Some people were taken away by compromised Nigerian military and police, by terrorists. They were tortured, killed, whatever. And those were the ones that were in prison, and 26 of them were, some of them were granted release, thank God. But anyway, so today's theme is held captive. And anybody can join in. I don't want to be the only one talking because I talk too much. You guys already know. But I just wanted to show that these brave souls here endured prison for no reason. Okay? There was no due process for them. And that's what I want to put faces. I want to show the world that this thing is happening, and it's common happening in the southeast part of Nigeria. And then people wonder why the southeast even came up with a security network. But anyways, Miss Savyy, you're with us today.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening to you guys.
So obviously there's evidence after evidence of people being held captive. Is there anything you wanted to comment?
I think you guys said it all.
Okay.
And this, first of all, like for me, this is a little bit like strange, like arresting people because they're in IPOB. Like it's like as if you said that you come to Poland and you're arresting people because they are Polish, because IPOB is like indigenous people of Biafra.
Yes.
So it's.
I think
no comment necessary anymore. Anyway.
I think I know what you're saying, because people always call IPOB as if they're some group or some gang.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're not. IPOB is not just a group. IPOB are actual indigenous people of Biafra. So when the Nigerian goes after IPOB, that's why sometimes I don't like to use the acronym IPOB. I like to say indigenous people of Biafra, because they're human. They're not a group. They are indigenes of the southeast part of Nigeria. They and their ancestors lived there and owned the land before Nigeria was even thrown together by the British. Now, that being said, that leads me into my next segue. Obviously, you all know that the British came in with Lord Lugard and all that, became friends with the Fulani, who are now have Fulani herdsmen terrorists. Okay. And now the terrorists have infiltrated the Nigerian government, the contraption government. And this is even more of a reason why people want to separate. So I want to play a little video, which everybody's probably aware of, but if we have people that still believe in one Nigeria or international community watching that wonders why Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for his people in Biafra, then you'll understand through this video. Okay. Now, this is an actual UK citizen or British citizen talking about voting, rigging votes, so Fulani stay in power, okay? Because we already know the Nigerian government has already said that they will not switch power to the southern region, Southwest Oduduwa, Southeast Biafrans, okay? So I'm gonna show it really quick and get your guys' take on this.
I learned, and the Governor General himself confirmed this to me, that the elections were rigged, contrived. The intention was that the North should rule Nigeria. Even in '56, the Northern leaders were very proud and were saying, if they couldn't run Nigeria, never mind elections. They might not join Nigeria. They might leave. And we all thought, well, how would they survive? There were no industries. There's not a great deal of agriculture, some groundnuts in the north. This wasn't very practical at all. And then it was, the Governor General seemed to be thinking that the North couldn't, even if it won an election, rule Nigeria by itself. The South wouldn't stand for that. So there had to be a partner, either the Igbos in the east or the Yoruba in the west, to team up with the North. What he didn't want was for the two southern parties, the Igbo and the Yoruba, to team up to form the government.
Okay, so.
That's so interesting. You would have allowed it to go on.
Yeah, so my point is, you heard what he was saying. The British, the Fulanis wanted to be in charge, okay? And obviously we know through Lord Lugard, I don't even like to call him Lord, he ain't no Lord, there's only one Lord, it's God Almighty. Lugard, he put through the contraption together, we all know that, okay? So the British, obviously, they give free resources through the Fulanis, and they can use the Fulanis as their little puppets to get whatever they want out of Nigeria and out of the people of Nigeria, the contraption, and stole the land or attempted to steal Biafra land, okay? But the Biafrans have held their ground all these years and still do, okay? So I guess the point that I'm making is he's openly admitting that they connived together. And I'm sharing this as evidence of what Nnamdi Kanu is saying for all the one Nigerians and for all the people in the international community that don't understand why Nnamdi Kanu does not want to be part of the contraption called Nigeria. So do you want me to play it further, Uzor?
Yeah, it's good to play because this thing, I wrote it in that book, but most Africans, they don't read, so they let them watch it too. It's in the book, so let them watch it too, so that they hear from the horse's mouth.
Okay, so we will hear it from the horse's mouth then. Let me see if I can bring it back up.
You can just forward it from where you stop,
Yeah, do you want me to finish playing it, or do you want to move on?
No, just finish playing it.
Okay.
So that they listen, they get it, they understand.
Okay.
Contrived. The intention was that the northern leaders were very proud and were saying, if they couldn't run Nigeria, never mind elections, they might not join Nigeria, they might leave. And we all thought, well, how would they survive? There were no industries, there's not a great deal of agriculture, some groundnuts in the north. This wasn't very practical at all. And then it was, the Governor General seemed to be thinking that the North couldn't, even if it won an election, rule Nigeria by itself. The South wouldn't stand for that. So there had to be a partner, either the Igbos in the east or the Yoruba in the west, to team up with the North. What he didn't want was for the two southern parties, the Igbo and the Yoruba, to team up to form the government, because he believed the North wouldn't tolerate that and talked about leaving the federation. So as I learned, in a small way at first, but very rapidly I learned about the election fixing, and as I say, this was confirmed to me by the Governor General. He actually said that he wanted me to know the truth because he wanted me to know how much trouble I was in. So there was a feeling then that there was going to be trouble. And then it was because the Awolowo and the Action Group had become the official opposition. What we British wondered, how could they win another election without the British counting the votes? There could not be another proper run election without us there. We knew what we were doing. We were just helping things along. We were doing what the British do, favouring our friends and looking after our own and repaying favours. We don't call that corruption. They knew that the North would do as they said after independence. If it had any, the North would just, because it was their habit, they liked the British, whereas the nationalists were an unknown factor. Actually, when they took the flag down and hoisted the Nigerian flag, not one of the major nationalist politicians was there. They weren't even on the platform. This was incredible. These were the people who had sought independence. The people in the North didn't want independence. They didn't want the British to leave. So this was a farce. And for most Europeans who were very close and watching this, we were disgusted. We thought this really had been manipulated, this election. It was unworthy. It was unworthy of the British people, this. This was no honest, straightforward thing that you would expect Britain, the mother of parliaments, to do.
Do you hear what he said?
Yes.
That he didn't call it corruption. It's manipulation and favoritism. They favor their own people. And you see the whole thing, this is true confession. They want to confess before they die. And one thing nothing goes for nothing. They're manipulating people's mentality people's have. These guys are playing with human life. That's how they manipulated Nigeria into anarchy. You see what's happening in Nigeria? This is all the cause of the Britain. The British people are the one causing all the evil happening in that contraption called One Nigeria. And they don't yet, they still don't want Biafrans to go.
And now you know why Britain still runs everything. And Catriona Lang, who blocked me, by the way, on Twitter, everybody else can go to her Twitter feed and look at her old Twitter comments, but she blocked me. And we all know why she blocked me, because I was telling her the truth about herself. And so I'll be mailing her a letter too, as well, saying, I see that you blocked me, but you're still guilty, okay, of all these atrocities and supporting terrorists. And as an American, I'm going to say it again. Catriona Lang, if you represent Britain and Britain sponsors terrorists and terrorist sponsors, I am going to rally my government to not be allies with Britain. We don't need to be allies with a country that sponsors terrorists and supports terrorist sponsors, period. And I'm going to show you the screen of what it looks like when I go to Catriona Lang's page, because I actually got blocked by her on Twitter. This is what it looks like when I go to her page. Is this what it looks like when you all go to her page? I'm blocked.
She blocked me too. I couldn't even access her page because
and I asked some Biafrans to go to her page and to see if they can see her old feeds, and they can still see her old feeds, her old posts, but I can't. So she knows that this is wrong, what she's doing. And if she's listening right now, US citizen to Catriona Lang, I do not want to be your ally or the ally to your country that you're representing when you're supporting terrorists and you're getting dropped off at the airport dancing with terrorists. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Anyway, Miss Savyy, do you want to add anything? Sorry. You know, I come in like a lioness, so.
I just wanted to add something regarding this video we just watched.
Mm-hmm.
And number one, I also thought it was so funny when he said, we don't call this corruption. He didn't say this is not corruption. Mm-hmm. We don't call this corruption. Like, seriously, unbelievable. And the other thing, I just wanted to, like, real quick, remind people that, at least from my research, what I was reading about Buhari, that when he was trying to become a president at first, that he lost, that he got very, very little voices, votes from people. And then suddenly he won the election. That is very strange. And as I remember that his point of like winning people over was saying that he's going to fight with terrorism. So that is really happening, isn't it? I mean,
it's not corruption, it's favoritism.
I mean, it just can't get any better than this. And this is why we support Nnamdi Kanu. This is why Nnamdi Kanu says there is an agenda against the Biafrans. And this is why Nnamdi Kanu wants to be separate from the contraption called Nigeria.
You know what? Nigeria is full definition of corruption. If you want to know the meaning of corruption, define Nigeria.
And go ahead, Miss Savyy.
Guys, by the way, I wanted to also tell you something. I just found out literally 2 days ago. I had a friend. She's from Gambia, and we were talking about this. And she told me that their president is Fulani.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
She said they are already having problem with him because he was supposed to. Because normally, from what I understood, that they have presidency for 3 years. And that he already said that he's not going to run only for 3 years. He's planning to run for at least 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
already changing the rules.
Yes. So this is like really a pattern behavior.
Well, I predict that soon in the Gambia, they'll be trying to kill off all the Christians there too. And which leads me, Miss Savyy, it's interesting that you mentioned two things, because I prepared for two things and I didn't talk to you before this program. So one being, you know, Africa has what, 54 African countries, correct?
Yep.
We looked it up yesterday. I wanted to know how many jihadi groups are in Africa right now, okay? Because to me, it's very simple. It's these jihadis and terrorists running amok in Africa and causing a lot of uproar. There is 34 main jihadi groups with subgroups in them, okay? I want to share my screen again. Again, this is why Nnamdi Kanu says they want to Islamize Nigeria and Biafra land. And this is why he fights tooth and nail not to let them in Biafra land, okay? So here we go. I'm going to show you this. So let me open it up. You know, I'm not good at the computer. Okay, so I wanted to look up organizations designated as terrorists in Africa, okay? So there's 34 categories, okay? And then there's some subcategories if you click on this. And anybody can Google this. This is how I go and study. Uzor, what do you always tell us?
Go and do your research. Read,
Go and do
read,
your research
read.
and go and read, okay? I want to scroll down. I want to, hang on, let me see here. It's not going to let me because I tried to make it big. Sterling, I wish I was better at the computer. My son's here. He's the computer man. So starting with A, okay, you've got all of these, and I'm going to have to take it down to scroll. You have all of these main groups of jihadis, okay? This ain't just, these are jihadi groups, okay? That's jihad. And what is jihad, Uzor?
That's the conquest.
Yes.
They want to dip the Quran in Atlantic Ocean.
And jihadis don't like whom?
Yeah, against anyone that doesn't believe in their faith.
Exactly. Okay. 34 groups of jihadis in 54 countries. That's almost a jihadi for every country in Africa. You know, and I found that very interesting because I'm trying to, you know, because I do listen to Nnamdi Kanu and I go and study what he says. You know what I mean? He said they're trying to Islamize us. Why are the Southeast governors allowing Fulanis to come into the land and just steal the land? That's why Eastern Security Network was put into place, to protect the farmers against jihadis. The ESN just doesn't go and murder people in the north. They don't go and rob people's land. They don't go and rape women. They protect their own citizens against jihadis, terrorists, okay, that are posing as cattle rearers. The North has all of that land up there. You can't tell me that they need to spread their cattle all through the Southeast when they've got land in abundance in the North, okay? That's just a way for them to, they always look for a way to manipulate, to Islamize. So how do we know that the Nigerian government is sponsoring these terrorists? How do we know?
Are you asking?
While my dog is barking. Sorry. But how do we know that the Nigerian...
Savyy want to say something.
Oh, go ahead, Miss Savyy.
No, I was just asking if you're asking, because
yeah,
I actually would like to know the answer.
Okay. Not only does it come out of their own mouth with Operation Safe Corridor, we all know what Operation Safe Corridor is. You can go and look it up. You can YouTube any Nigerian military commander saying that repentant Boko Haram can become president one day. Okay.
Yeah, federal government brought out Sheikh Gumi to go and be negotiating with people that kill people, with terrorists.
Yes.
The federal government of Nigeria, they knew all of them. They knew them. They know them. They know their names. They know where they are. They can call them in a meeting, they give them money, they bribe them, they do everything, negotiate with the people that kill their citizens. And they kill people that protect their people not to be killed. They send the armories to go and bomb ESM camp, people that are protecting their land.
So I'm going to share some more stuff with you that proves it. Okay. So the one Nigerians, if you don't want to believe that your current wannabe fake president with a mask, but really garbage Shehu, Lai Muhammad, I call him garbage Shehu because he's garbage.
Femi Adesina, people.
Femi Adesina, and it's funny how you brought him up, Uzor, because guess what? I'm going to prove that they sponsor terrorists. And remember how I told you all, these terrorists are deeply rooted, like in Iraq and Middle Eastern countries. Okay. So obviously, repentant Boko Haram can become president and can go in the military and police. So we know that the Nigerian government likes Boko Haram. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen for the latest news going on. Okay, let's find Femi Adesina here. Okay. So recently, Femi Adesina, he posted on Facebook, because I follow him, because I want to see what stupid stuff he's saying today. He says, President Buhari greets new Iranian president. What do we know about Iran, an Iranian president? Well, I'm going to tell you what we know about him, but let's read what Femi said first, okay? Femi said, President Muhammadu Buhari has said the election of Iran's new president, Ibrahim Raisi, once again reinforces the centrality of the will of the people to the success of democracy anywhere in the world. Okay, is he telling me that the Iranian president is central to the will of the people to the success of democracy anywhere in the world? Okay. So in Abuja on Monday, President Buhari said that Raisi deserves his victory in the presidential election. Buhari himself said he deserves that. Okay, let's go see what this new president Raisi has been up to. Okay. Let's go see what he's been up to. Oh, somebody posted this. And you can go and Google this so-called new president of Iran. He was part of the Iranian regime notorious death commission in 1988 that ordered the mass execution of 5,000 political prisoners. Political prisoners being anybody that's against Sharia law, okay?
Exactly.
He should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. Instead, he was just named the next president of Iran.
Watch what's going to start happening in that country.
Exactly. But guess who supports him?
The face Max Buhari.
Face mask Buhari. Okay. So let's see something else. So this comes from off of Doctrine and Apologetics. Okay. He says life in Iran is just about to get worse. Ibrahim Raisi, ultra-conservative judiciary chief with brutal human rights violation records, set to be Iran's next president. He was part of a 4-person death panel that allegedly oversaw the mass execution of up to 5,000 political prisoners. Okay, and the Nigerian government, or should I say regime, is supporting this. They're supporting terror.
They're on the same page.
Yes. So that leads me to something else.
But you know, I thought it's against.
Go ahead.
I thought it's against Islamic faith to kill people. So,
well,
that's what they always say. That
exactly.
To people. So, why did you just kill 5,000 people? For different political views. That's not the difference.
And Femi Adesina goes on there like he's so smart and he's such a bookworm and a good writer. but he hasn't done his homework, has he? Oh, Buhari supports this person that was helped be responsible for killing and slaughtering 5,000 people. So that's another example of how the Nigerian government sponsors terrorists. So why would it be hard to believe for you one Nigerians and you Southeast governors? And so why would it be so hard for anybody to believe that the Nigerian government sponsors terrorists? And that's why, and that Nnamdi Kanu might have a good reason to want to have referendum and have their own country away from Nigeria. Okay, not only have they changed the constitution under the people's noses to be more Sharia law, but I've showed you last week on Father's Day how the Sharia council that Buhari belonged to, they said there's no power rotation in Nigeria. Sorry, Uzor, I know I'm long-winded, but let me tell you, I want people to understand this. I want these one Nigerians to understand this. This is why. And these South people, okay? You still want Nigeria to be over you when they're openly sponsoring terrorists? Okay, so you know the Nigerian government sponsors Boko Haram. They repent Boko Haram. Well, there was some news about Boko Haram recently, okay? I'm gonna share my screen again. So this is from the BBC. We'll show the BBC because even though I don't like the BBC, we'll just show the people who do like it what it's talking about. Islamic State group names its new leader as Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi. Okay. Now this is a jihad group, ISIS. IS stands for ISIS. Has for this first time confirmed the death of its leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Remember I told you al-Baghdadi was the one we killed in the U.S. Well, we cornered him and he blew himself up like a coward, okay? So they announced that this guy is second. Now look at his name very closely. Do you all see his name? Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurashi, okay? Now, let's see who Boko Haram pledged their loyalty to after Shekau, you know, rumor has it Shekau blew himself up in the middle of May. So now they are joining, they named their new leader, okay? Boko Haram joins ISWAP because, you know, ISWAP kind of broke down and Boko Haram was kind of the breakoffs of ISWAP. They reunite, pledge allegiance to al-Qurashi, which they misspelled the name, okay? So let me see. Whoops, hang on. Let me go backwards. Hang on, y'all. Let me go out of here. Okay. Let me see. That's not where I want to go. Right here. So this guy was named as the new leader of al-Baghdadi, and al-Baghdadi was the one that the Boko Haram leader Shekau loved. That was his main dude, okay? So this is the new guy that Boko Haram swore their allegiance to. Yeah. This is the same guy that took over al-Baghdadi. He's part of ISIS. He's part of the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Levant means all the people associated with them, okay? And part of the people associated with them, wait, let me go back. Because I wanted to study who Boko Haram is loyal to now. So I read all the articles and it said who they pledged their allegiance to openly. He started with the Ba'athist Party in Iraq, then Al-Qaeda, then the Islamic State of Iraq, and now he's the leader. He was the deputy leader, but now he's the ranking leader, like al-Baghdadi was, okay? He is an Iraqi citizen, just like al-Baghdadi, and guess what? Boko Haram and ISWAP does the deeds for this man. This man is the leader of the Muslims, according to Boko Haram, who are joining forces with ISWAP. They're all coming back together in ISWAP, okay? Which is the Islamic State. of Western Africa, Sahel, whatever they call themselves. Okay, so let's go to where they say, hopefully I put this on here. Okay. That is not what I want. If you read the articles of Boko Haram, hang on. I should have been more prepared. I'm sorry, you all. I wanted to show the article where Boko Haram recently, and you guys can see it, it was posted, names their new leader. Okay, here it is. They pledge their allegiance to this. If you read this whole article, it mentions his whole name. So Boko Haram now has pledged now that Shekau's dead, they joined the ISWAP, and now they're pledging their allegiance to that new Iraqi citizen terrorist that is in the Middle East telling them what to do. So another reason why this is deeply rooted. It's not just Boko Haram woke up one day in Africa and they decided to take over land, okay? This is deeply rooted in the Middle East because terrorists in the Middle East have already said they're gonna take Africa first. And now they're being successful. There's 34 jihadi groups in Africa with only 54 countries. So, and we already know that Al-Shabaab was called by the Nigerian government, okay? And we see that the Nigerian government is sponsoring terrorists because they support the new Iraqi president, and they support Boko Haram because they put repentant Boko Haram in the community and military. So the reason I'm saying this is this backs up the fact of what Nnamdi Kanu has been saying, and nobody believes him. And it's not Islamophobia. This is real terrorist groups trying to take over, and they're trying to wipe off anybody that don't believe what they believe, period. So I wanted to put that in there for you all. And there was one more thing I wanted to show. But do you guys want to comment on that?
Maybe Savyy.
Sorry?
So did I convince you, Miss Savyy?
Oh, don't worry. I'm convinced. I was just thinking, you know, why all of these things are happening in the world, you know, and why it's like literally going on worldwide. Like, why is it happening to us? And I was just really contemplating about something I read today before in the Bible, but it's not very relevant. So let's just, it's a topic for another day. So let's just move on. It's all very scary, you know, so yeah.
So I guess what I want to say, today's talking about being held captive, okay? So you got the Southeast governors that are being held captive by greed and power, because the terrorists are convincing them that they're going to get presidency or vice presidency, even though we showed clearly that they collude with the British government and they don't want anybody from the South getting presidency or even vice presidency, because if something happens to the president of Nigeria, who becomes the second in charge? The vice president, right? They don't want nobody from the South leading. So why are the Southeast governors, number one, helping the terrorists under a silent genocide, under the guise of military and police, killing Biafrans right now as we speak, and putting them in prison for no reason, no due process? Yeah. So I want to ask the Southeast governors if they're watching. Dave Umahai, Ikpizu, I haven't heard from you for a while. Have I talked some sense into you? Or how about Hope Uzodinma, who's hopeless? I think you're hopeless, Hope Uzodinma. You just got used by terrorists to kill your own people and slaughter your own people. And maybe you all should do your homework, but no, you're too busy trying to get gold, trying to get money. trying to get power and trying to get material things. So that's why I said what I said, and their mind is held captive. Their mind is held captive.
There's one truth I want to let them know, the governors and the East, the Southeast, the South, all those ones that call themselves Niger Delta, the Oduduwa, the Biafran, the entire people living in that contraption. I want you to know the gospel truth. These people are not looking for any grazing because they told you they're looking for graze. They want land for grazing. Right there in the north, they've got huge land mass. They got enough land for grazing. Why are they not grazing there? You people need to be wise. Elohim have given you something here. You need to make use of it. This is called sense. Sense is not common. I always say it. People should stop deceiving themselves. Everybody got it, but most people are not making use of it. These people are not coming for any grazing. They're coming to the Southeast. Ask yourself, why are they so much interested in the South?
Exactly.
Why they have enough land there to graze whatever they want to graze in the North? They have massive land mass, massive. Study it. That's why I tell people, read, you don't read. They have more than enough empty land to graze anything they want to graze, even 300 years. They can't get tired of grazing over there. Why are they so interested in the East, in the South, mostly in Biafran?
No.
You know what? This is jihad coming, Islam. They're trying to eliminate everybody. This is the killings. Okay, ask yourself, what concerns killing with grazing? Why are they killing people if they truly want to graze? Ask yourself that. Bear it in mind, the governors.
And why
Shalom.
don't they go to the farmers and say, can we use your land for grazing? We need to graze the cattle. But no, they rape women, slice them open. They slaughter people and farmers. We see it almost on a daily basis, and we've got evidence to back it up. Nothing
And
I
they
say
keep
on this
deceiving
program
them.
isn't backed
They
with
keep deceiving
evidence.
them, Susan, and they say it's clash. What do you mean by clash? There's nothing like
It's not a
farmers brothers
clash.
clash. It's pure lies. And if someone
And
will die in Nigeria, they will say allegedly. Instead of you to call the state by its name, and you're saying allegedly clash. What do you mean by clash? People, they came from the north, the Fulanis are killing people, and you're saying it's allegedly a clash. What do you mean by clash? Do you see them killing the farmers,
yes,
taking up their houses? And you mind you, these people will kill you and they will start living in their house.
and guess what? Our U.S. Ambassador, Mary Beth Leonard, is silent. The UK ambassador, or whatever you want to call her, I call her an evil woman, Catriona Lang. I do call her other names, but I'm a Christian woman and I ain't going to say it on here. But let me tell you, there are times I slip up, and I'm okay with that. And nobody's saying anything. And guess what? Our governments aren't looking into this. But I want to put this out there. I am justifying why I support Nnamdi Kanu and nobody else fighting for Biafra. No other group. Because number one, IPOB is not just a group, it's indigenous people. They put up everything to save their people. It's not just a group of young hoodlums. They are people who are protecting their own people and risking their lives doing it. They have not started a war. They are in self-defense. These terrorists were allowed to come to Biafra land and start wreaking havoc. You know, Ojukwu back in the war, he didn't want to be part of Nigeria. He got with Gowon on the Aburi Accord. They signed it in agreement. And when they got back, Gowon betrayed Ojukwu with Britain's help. And now you know why. I played that video of that British man. He explained everything perfectly. It comes from their own mouth. It can't get any better than this. They cannot say that the insecurity in Nigeria right now is caused by Nnamdi Kanu. The insecurity in Nigeria right now is caused by the terrorists and their sponsors and evil, wicked, greedy people. That's what is going on in Nigeria right now. Would you agree, Miss Savyy?
Yes, and I also think they are putting labels on things like, for example, you know, like we were discussing before, that when they arrest people because they are in IPOB, they're trying to like label, say, okay, IPOB is just an organization, the rebel organization. Then they will try to label Biafran, then they try to label ESN as, you know, there was a time when they tried to label them as a terrorist group officially, even on Wikipedia. Because when they label things like that, it's easier for them to manipulate information to the public and to media.
Yes.
So I think that's why they do things that the way they are doing, and they're trying to basically just like mislead the international audience on what is going on by doing so.
I think they are labeling them as terrorists because they want to come down there and silent genocide. Because what they came up with a pretty crafty way to repent terrorists, put them in military and police, so that, and make them, IPOB and ESN, look like they're terrorists, so that they can go and justifiably kill them in a silent slaughter. And IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra, are only protecting themselves. They never went and invaded anybody. And they know that the indigenous people of Biafra and Nnamdi Kanu is their roadblock to the jihad going on right now in Nigeria. Anybody can read about all the Christians being slaughtered, all the Judeo-Christians, all the Biafrans that believe in Judaism. They're all being slaughtered because they don't believe in Sharia law. Same with the Oduduwas now. It's starting to happen. But notice how they don't go after the leader of Oduduwa, Sunday Igbo, however you say his last name. But they did come to Nnamdi Kanu's house and threaten him because he's a major roadblock to the jihad. And this is why Nnamdi Kanu says every time in his program, this is Islamization. We want referendum. We want referendum, and they deserve referendum to protect their people. And
if you watch Sunday Boho is not a threat to them, because they know that you know, the Oduduwa people have a fair share in Nigeria. That's why they're not taking anything serious. If not, Boho wouldn't have stayed in Nigeria to be fighting for freedom. They would have killed him.
Well, just like that man said in that video, that British man, their biggest fear was the Oduduwas to join with the Biafrans.
Exactly.
And now it's happening. It's happening. So if you're an Oduduwan, I hope that they underestimated you. I hope that you all are watching this program. And I want to bring up the South. You know, recently in the news, they had the Avengers. What do they call them? Let me share my screen.
The Avengers coming back again.
Yeah, the Delta Avengers. They opened this Operation Humble. Operation Humble.
And the lady, they name a lady as their leader.
Yes. So, and this is why, okay, you have your group. I understand you call yourself the South, but still, you don't need to be part of One Nigeria, because One Nigeria has been hijacked by terrorists on a jihad mission. So anyways, the Nigeria Delta Avengers, they threatened to cripple the economy by blowing up oil sites, okay, and infrastructure, okay? So let's see what the reaction is by Muhammadu Buhari, the fake president with the mask, AKA Garbage Shehu, Femi Adesina, Lai Muhammad, and everybody in between, okay? So this is Femi's response. I read it this morning, okay? It says, demands by Niger Delta Avengers, and I hope there's Niger Delta Avengers watching this. The media was Sunday awash with threats and demands by a group, Niger Delta Avengers, to embark on economic sabotage through bombing of critical oil and gas installations, unless certain demands, including development of the Niger Delta and restructuring of. So basically, the Niger Delta Avengers said that they want the Niger Delta because they don't consider themselves Biafrans. Is that correct, Uzor? Do I have it straight?
Yeah. Another thing I want to open up, sorry for, I just want to divert a bit. There's a breaking news now. There's a native doctor that do voodoo for Nigerian police.
Yeah, I read that.
What happened is they beheaded the guy, and they quickly rushed to the dailies to say that unknown gunman did it, and they're tagging it to ESN.
Yeah, and I heard that he was working for them.
He was the guy working for Nigerian police, doing voodoo for them to enable them to kill Christians, the Nigerian police. And I don't know what the problem they had with the man, because once you work with Nigeria, you are going to end up in disgrace. They will kill you later. So they killed the guy and they labeled it ESN. This is what is happening in that contraption. This is the man working for Nigerian police. And Nigerian police turned back to kill him, beheaded him.
Well, and Uzor, I want to know, how many years has this so-called Niger Delta, as they call themselves, but we already know they were part of the bite of Biafra way back on maps. But
yeah, you know what happened? What happened? These people they call themselves Niger Delta because actually what happened during the war, these are mostly, especially River State, they sabotaged the Biafrans, they sabotaged the whole thing. Though Philip Effiong is from there, they call themselves Niger Delta. These are brainwashed. They were brainwashed to pick up that name. So this is the work of the caliphate to make them to believe that they're not Biafrans, that they're Niger Delta, which means nothing.
Right, but look how they kowtow to them. Every time they rise up. So the Niger Delta and Avengers said, look, we're tired. We want our restructuring. Okay, they want restructuring. Nnamdi Kanu wants referendum. Okay, yeah. They want restructuring. So evidently they still want it possible for the jihadis to be in power, as far as you
remember the guy called Asari Dokubo. He was the leader of Niger Delta there before this bandit. He was their leader before they gave him the pipeline security guard. He abandoned them and he sabotaged them. He killed a lot of them.
Yeah.
He handed a lot of them over to the Nigerian government, and he's there enjoying the loafing.
But this is what I'm saying. They've been going all these years with the Nigerian government, obviously trying to restructure and get the Niger Delta Federation, okay? Yeah. Or the Niger Delta independence, okay? Yeah. How many years have they been doing this? Like, how many?
It's been donkey years. I need to go through that. It's been so many, they've been deceiving them for so long. You know what, once a month, what happens with these guys? Once they rise up, they give them amnesty, they give them money, they silence them. They've used poverty to sap their mentality. So this
That's what I'm saying. They're being held captive in their minds. Because if the Nigerian government was serious about giving them Niger Delta and giving them more leeway over the oil that belongs in their land to their ancestors, they would have already done it. But they keep appeasing them and appeasing them and appeasing and appeasing. And now it's gotten to the point where the Niger Delta Avengers have rose up again. And they're like, we're going to sabotage the oil if you don't give us Niger Delta. This is why I asked them in another previous program, what makes you think that a terrorist hijacked government ran by and sponsored by terrorists, what makes you think that they're going to give you something that belonged to you already? And it's been years and years and years, and you haven't gotten it yet. And it's taking you to rise up and threaten economic sabotage.
Susan, I'm so happy that I love learned people. That's why I always roll with people that are so intelligent. I love people that read. I love people that research. You see how you research it, you know everything. You know more than them. These guys are so dull. They have nothing in their brain. These are the same people. They're using the same tactics to keep them in the same page. Anybody talking about restructuring is deaf. Is daft. The person's brain is not working. How do you expect Fulanis to give you restructuring? What are you restructuring with them?
They
What?
own
Just tell
most of
me.
the oil company and the
So
oil.
everything, all the oil wells are being held by them. And what are you? So you're restructuring to let them go of the oil. They can never let go of the oil. So what are you talking about?
And not only
Anybody,
that, but the British
yeah, I
have
just want the
admitted.
world.
Go
Yeah, I
ahead,
just want
Uzor.
the world to know, hear my voice now. Anybody that's not talking about Oduduwa Republic, our republic, Biafran nation, the person is wasting his or her precious time. Nigeria is not a country. This guy, this man said it. You see what he said? This is just a cacophony of game. This is what they played, and this is pure corruption. And you had him say it's not corruption, it's favoritism. You see what you manipulated the election. You played with people's mentality, and you don't call it corruption. You call it a game. You can't imagine that.
And this is coming from their own mouths. This is
Yes, and
Femi
people don't want to
Adesina.
open up their eyes. They're still blind. They're still talking about one Nigeria.
But they put Nnamdi Kanu for saying this same thing. They put him down.
You can imagine.
But yet it's coming out of the mouths of the own government. And if this many years have gone by and they have not given you restructuring for Niger Delta, what makes you Niger Deltans think, which you're not Niger Deltans, because Biafrans are Biafrans.
They are Biafrans that deny their own heritage.
And I'm sorry if you get mad at me. Actually, I'm not sorry, but I'm going to give you tough love because I love all Biafrans. I love Nnamdi Kanu. I love Igbo people. I love all Biafrans. There's 11 tribes in Biafra. And I studied, and I'm not trying to tell you who you are, but open your eyes. Even I, as an American citizen, can see what's going on here. All these years, you've been fighting for restructuring in the Niger Delta. You've been saying, and I've had Lower Niger Congress try to say, tell me not to believe in what Nnamdi Kanu is saying. No, you can't, because I've done the study myself. I don't listen to words. I go and study it. Because all these years gone by, have you gotten your restructuring? No. Have your people been slaughtered in River State? Yes. Have you gotten anything from the Nigerian government that sponsors terrorists? No. Are the police attacking you in your own land? Yes. Are you benefiting from the oil in your own land? No. So shouldn't you be asking yourself, maybe we should stop dividing with the other Biafran people and be like, okay, let's get freedom first. And then we can break into our own separate things, because Nnamdi Kanu has already said this. He's already said this.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Back on the old maps, like before Nigeria, where you had Oduduwa on the map, and when you had Biafra on the official maps, then Niger Delta was in Biafra, wasn't it?
Yes, they are Biafran. They are inside Biafra.
Exactly. So my other question to people is, if they are asking for restructuring, so my question is, if Nigeria is going to restructure with you, can you close your borders? Because you can't. Can you demand terrorists to get visa to get to your Niger Delta? You can't. So
exactly.
So there
Just
is
a waste of time.
very basic information to consider.
Good point, Miss Savyy. Oh my gosh.
Good point. Yeah.
Very good.
You know what? This their nasty character is making the Igbo Biafran. Most of them are fed up with their behavior. That's why you see a lot of Igbo Biafrans saying that they want Nnamdi to just take the 5 states and go, but we don't want to leave anybody behind.
Exactly. And getting back to those maps, if you study the US slave trade, there was maps during the slave trade, and they actually logged people out of Biafra, the Bight of Biafra, from those areas. So the people in Niger Delta need to study their history. I hate it when people take away history. We're fighting that in the US right now. You know what I mean? They're trying to take away our history. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. History is important. So A, we don't repeat it if it's bad. And B, you know where you came from. You know your history. So
you know what, Susan? the thing I normally tell them, because these people, they don't reason, most of them. I said, if you want to divide twins, just give them separate name. This is divide and rule. This is what they're doing to Niger Delta. They don't want Biafrans to unite, because once you have a united force, this is where you weakens them. So this is why they try to divide them. But you watch these people, when you talk about presidency, when you talk about people that have ruled Nigeria, they will tell you you've ruled before, that you got Goodluck Jonathan, which they refer as Niger Delta, but he's pure Igbo man. Goodluck Ebele Chukwu Jonathan. They will tell you that he is not
something
Igbo,
behind
that
you.
he's Niger
Uzor,
Delta.
oh, go ahead.
Pardon?
I'm sorry. I
Yes.
saw something behind you, but it's a mirror. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So that's what they do. They will only tell you that, oh, Niger Delta, this. But when you talk about the presidency, they will tell you you've ruled before, you're Biafran. But when you talk about the race thing, oh, you're Niger Delta. You're not the same. The same Fulani will be telling the Niger Delta that Biafrans are coming for your oil. Why the Biafrans got oil in their states too? They'll tell you, oh, nothing, is your own oil there, all after. So this is divide and rule. They try to manipulate the mentality of these people. And you see these Fulanis, they're so sharp because they got the information, all the advice are coming from the British.
Yeah. And think about it. That guy said it. That British man said it. They can manipulate the Fulanis. They can manipulate them. That's why they chose them to be in power after the independence of Nigeria. So look at this. I find this funny because I think Femi Adesina and the masked president are pooping bricks, as we say in the US. They're pooping bricks, literally. He said, it is, however, curious that the threat was coming less than 48 hours after President Buhari met with the leadership of Niger Delta and Ijaw National Congress at the presidential villa, and the whatever issues had been responded to, especially call for restructuring of the federation and the inauguration. So see, they had met 48 hours prior to talk about this so-called restructuring. So Femi Adesina, he don't understand why the Niger Deltans, and I'm going to act like Femi, I don't understand why the Niger Avengers are coming.
Okay, let me talk for them, because these people are not spiritual. I will tell you what's happening there. This is just a gang up. They just want us they just want to divide this agitation now, to tell you that Niger Delta is springing up. They're asking for the restructuring, different thing, that Biafrans are asking for different thing. They will tell you that these people are not coordinated. Do you understand what is happening there? This is their myth. This is the same people. If care is not taken, these guys are being formed by Nigerian federal government to disorganize what we're doing.
Yes.
Do you understand? And there are a lot of Niger Delta that we're trying to wake up from their mentality. Most of them will start supporting these Niger Delta people now. These people that are these Avengers. So this is what they try to manipulate in your psyche. Wake up. These guys, they won't know the meaning of death until they are dead. This, I always tell these people this. Wake up. Wake up from your subconsciousness.
And if they don't want to believe us, if they don't want to believe Nnamdi Kanu, believe it out of the Nigerian government's own mouth and the British people's own mouth.
Yeah.
You know, and I get it. If you don't want to be part of Nnamdi Kanu or whatever, or part of Biafra, fine. But don't go against him. He's fighting for the freedom of everybody, every single buddy in Biafra land, from the time before Nigeria was even thrown together. He is fighting for everybody. He don't want to leave nobody out. So why do you want to leave yourself out? Why do you want to let the British and other countries, probably the US too, because I looked it up, I was so ashamed. Why do you want to let other countries get off of what belongs to you? They get to benefit from what belongs to you. You don't even benefit from your own natural resources off your own land. And you want to talk smack about Nnamdi Kanu, who's trying to fight for you to get the freedom to have that. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I just want to tell you all, that's why Nnamdi Kanu gives you tough love. He speaks harsh words to you. I call it tough love. I don't call it like, oh, Nnamdi Kanu just talks crap and all this. I call it tough love. He wants you to open your eyes in the South, and we want you to open your eyes too. Nobody's trying. You're so worried about Nnamdi Kanu trying to be the leader over your oil. You've got terrorists and their sponsors not only trying to perform a jihad on you, but to take over your oil so they can benefit. And they're benefiting off of it right now. And you want to talk crap about Nnamdi Kanu. I hope there's some Niger Avengers listening to me. Come on now.
I just wanna thank you, Susan and Savyy, because this is so educative. This is I encourage you to continue with what you're doing. So this is so. If you don't read, if you can't read, you listen. If you can't listen, you watch. If you can't watch, you see. So I think you're doing a great job to open, because the whole world is watching us now. I just want to thank you. Elohim is going to bless you for what you're doing. It's not a waste of time. You're saving souls, but you might not know that you're saving souls by all these programs you're doing. So it's good, but with time, you can place the guy there. Let's see the brand again. So that we talk about brand again.
Yeah, I want us all to do closing statements too, because I'm not going to go as long today. I pretty much tried to say everything and back it up with evidence, why I support Nnamdi Kanu and why I support what he's saying. And
you can put up his Brown's picture again so that we say something about him.
Yes, I will. Miss Savyy, I'm going to have you say a few words too after Uzor, like a little closing piece.
Yeah, give me a few minutes. I will come back to that in 2 minutes.
And before I do that, Uzor, I wanted to also put, today is about being held captive. Okay. There's 34 jihadi groups in Africa with 54 African countries. Okay. They're running amok. At the end of this program, I'm going to show a little video, because people always talk about the European slave trade and the American slave trade. They never talk about the jihadis that had a slave trade in Africa 700 years prior that ushered in the European and American slave trade. And so I want to talk about that, because these people are being held captive in their mind, these terrorists. They're being held captive by Middle Eastern terrorists from the beginning of time. So that's part of the theme, is being held captive. So I'm going to close with that video after we make our closing statements. But let me pull up Mr. Brown's thing, okay? Again. Is it Brown? They called him Mr. Brown?
Yeah, Mr. Brown. He's from Anambra.
Seriously, we want to pray for this guy, and we want you all to act in any way that you can to try to get him. I mean, I just can't look at this. I will start crying. But oh my God, this man he's in China, and he's endured prison over 19 years in China. And a China prison ain't like an American prison. It is very you're treated like a slave, and you work and you get starved and you get tortured. It's not like a good prison.
Yeah.
So we wanted to show his picture, and we want everybody to help his cause if you can, or if you know somebody that has a little, I don't know, some person that
Susan,
might be able to
just make it trend. After this, you post it on Facebook, make it trend, because I can't do anything on Facebook. They blocked me again.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Do that. So do you want to make a closing statement, Uzor?
Okay, I just want Biafrans, the lawyers, to start agitating for the release of other Biafrans, not only Chukwudi Brown Atuchukwu, with others too, especially Chukwudi Atuchukwu is the oldest, like 20 years now. So we need to let him out of prison. He has suffered enough. And all the Biafrans are lavishing in various prisons in Asia, Europe, America. We need to speak for them. They need to regain their freedom. They need to be alive to see Biafra. So while we're fighting for Biafra, we shouldn't fold our hands waiting for Biafra to come. We should around and do underground work and get our men out of prison, because the Nigerian government are doing nothing, especially now. The Chinese are doing their 100 years of remembrance. So we need to ask them to write to them to have a plea of pardon them, and release all the Biafran held captive in that dungeon, in that prison in China and any other place, especially China, because they harvest their kidney in there. May peace be unto Biafrans. May peace be unto Oduduwa. May peace be unto Arawa. Nigeria is gone for good. Shalom.
Thank you, Mr. Uzor, for joining our program today. Ms. Savyy, would you like to say anything in closing?
Yes. We don't want to be held captive. We need to be reactive.
Amen, sister.
Ise.
Ise.
But what I wanted to say, I wanted to actually talk to people who are watching us today, who are not Biafrans, who are, like, for example, I'm from Poland, and I'm sure there are other people from different countries, and I would like you guys to understand that this is important, that we all get involved in the struggle of Biafra. And I want you to go and research on your own why it's important for all of us. And I know that you feel like there's nothing you can do, that this is, so far away, like, what can you do? You are just one person, but there's plenty you can do. So I want you guys to contact, the best person to contact is Susan, and join us in this fight.
Yes, ma'am. I totally agree. And I again repeat what Miss Savyy says. Do not be held captive by anyone or anything. God gave us free will on this earth. There's no man that should be holding you captive or holding your mind captive. So we put some truth out here. We want you to do your studying. If you have questions, contact me. I might not be able to get to you right away, and it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because I have a lot of people that I visit with on the daily basis and work a full-time job. But we want to pray for all the Biafrans all over, but we don't only want to pray for any Biafran held captive in Nigeria or outside of Nigeria. We want to act. We want to try our very best to try to help, do whatever we can. And everybody has talents. Let's join our talents together. International community, if you want to join us on this Zoom call and you want to contribute to the freedom of helping the people of Biafra gain their freedom, I want you to contact me through Messenger. Send me a message. I'll eventually read it. We want outside international support. We want to bring to life the true things that are going on in Biafra. We want to bring it out here because soon they've already started a silent genocide on the people in Southeast contraption, as they call it. We call it Biafra land, and we want to help protect those people. So anyway, with that being said, Miss Savyy, I'm going to leave with this little video for people to watch. I want you to watch this closing video. Okay. Bye, everyone. We love you. We're not giving up. We are not giving up. Come hell or high water, we're not giving up. Bye, everybody. We love you. Bye, Miss Savyy.
Bye.
Take care of yourself, and we'll continue to work in the background.
Yeah. See you soon.
All right.